Hey everybody, Scoutcrafty here again. Welcome back to the show. Today's Monday, but I'm filming this, believe it or not, on the 4th of July. And I was woken up this morning by the Blue Angels flying over my house. How fantastic is this? 250th anniversary celebration. I remember the bicentennial. Some of you are old enough to remember 1976. When everything was red, white, and blue and patriotic, and I'm feeling it today. It is fantastic. So, today's episode is kind of inspired by my buddy Andy McBride, who was doing a wrench, and he was having a little. We were talking about it on emails, and I said I have this wrench here I picked up at Zagre. I paid $5 for it. It's a pre-1930s Crescent wrench. Now, these Crescent wrenches, because they were around for a while in 1930, actually invented around 1907 or something, but they didn't get the patent until later on, until like 10 years later. However, a lot of their wrenches were almost like a war finish, except for the top. Now, the designer really wanted it to look like this. This is what the designer envisioned for his wrench to look like, but I haven't seen any copies like that around. They were all like a black war finish. I'm going to do one today in the original designer's, what his wish list was. So what do you say we get started and work on that right away? Okay, for today's project, I have this beautiful pre-1930 Crescent adjustable wrench, and look at the shape. Look at the jaws on this are really nice, and look, you could see here the back wasn't banged up and used as a hammer like it so often is. But again, pre-1930, I just love these because they're thick and bulky, and they look like they're built like a tank. Now you could see here that it does have some markings on there from the owner. There's some X's around that he probably chipped in there and whatever. We'll go through that. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to wire brush it. But let me show you, compared to the older wrench, compared to the newer wrench, you can see the difference. The newer wrench is about half the thickness, but believe it or not, it's just as strong. I know it doesn't sound like it could be possible, but the Crestalloy, or that new alloy, is a really strong metal. And when they came out in 1930 with this Crestalloy, they pretty much did away with the larger, bulkier wrenches. But I still like them. And you could see here, this one's going to be a fun restoration. So let's get started with this right away. To take it apart, this has, some of them have a pin, but this nicely has a screw that'll unscrew here. And this is a cause for a lot of problems. Sometimes you need a drop of oil on these things to operate correctly. Now, when you take this out here like this, you'll notice that there is no washer or screw. Sometimes there are on certain models, but this doesn't. So the thumb wheel comes right out like that, and then this slides right off. And then we'll take this and wire brush those pieces. First of all, when you do a wire brushing, you have to get in every nook and cranny. Use your round wire brushes and everything. And I'm going to show you, first of all, you could see the forge marks here again. Look at that. That's from the factory. These X's were somebody's markings for the wrench, you know, at the time. They did it all the way around to show that it was their wrench, but we'll get rid of that. And again, the forge, you know, the forge is here. A lot of people don't bother, especially this gets worn out with years of use from the hand, but we'll smooth that out because there's some dings and dents and whatnot. This here, that's the original finish in here. And then also here, you can see again with the X from whoever marked it. Clean in here with the Dremel, clean around here with the Dremel. Make sure everything's nice and clean. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of all this here, and then we'll figure out the way we want to do it. I always like to do these a certain way because I like to keep these as user wrenches. I usually like to leave the inside the original black. You can see there is a finish there. Highlight the letters with some sandpaper. Same here. And then outside here, I like to smooth this out. So what do you say we do that? Now you know my favorite part. Remember what this crescent wrench looked like before we started? And we're calling this project done. It's been a long time since I put 3 hours into a hand tool, and I'll tell you, there's a lot of work here, but this is just the way I like my crescent wrenches. Let's take a look at what we did here. First of all, the letters, I did sand them down so that, and then I blued the inside, the background, so that the letters do pop. And over here, this is, I can't tell you how smooth this is. Went through all the stages with that. And then with the top here, I didn't go over the top as far as finish goes. I always wanted, you know, stop the scratches and fingerprints from coming down, but it's just super smooth. And watch how quick, look at that, spins, you know, 4 little flips and that thing's open. Remember, it was stuck before. This thing is just super smooth. I lubed it with Teflon lubricant in here, and isn't that just beautiful? The way these match up, and just a really nice example now. Something that's old, but yet doesn't look old. The only thing left to do is to test it out, make sure there's no binding with the nut tester. It's always important to test your tools after you finish. I didn't touch any of the inside surfaces, but if you do, because you do want this to pinch. If these pinch, and we've all had them before, they're so annoying you just want to throw the wrench away. But here we go. We're going to tighten it up on here like that. It's nice and snug. We give it a turn, and then it has to engage and disengage, sliding it on without any pinching or any adverse problems with the tool. So this works fantastic. You could see here, and it tightens up nicely. There's no slop in it. It's just a really nice wrench, isn't it? I love these old Crescents, and again, the wide style, but I use it for other things. But it's worth the $5. Next up, we got a quick one for you. Poor Man's Flea Market. That's where I walk around and find some stuff in the garbage. And look what I found. I found these Fiskars. Okay. These are cutters. These are the side-by-side cutters, not the anvil style. You could see. And it's got a little detent here. It's got that spring, that coil spring. I always like these springs. And it feels pretty smooth. Just needs some cleaning, lubrication. Check the edge. And I'll show you basically what we do. First thing we're going to do is we're going to clean this up with some WD-40, because there's usually sap and things like that. You can use Brillo, you can use anything. So we're going to clean it up first. Okay, now we clean. I used Brillo actually because I had a pad over there. So you can see we got all the sap. There's a lot of times sap and dirt, and cleaned up the blades really good. That's what we did with the blades. Now, this is flat this side. We do not touch this blade. Okay, we do not touch it unless there's something on there that you could feel. You know, we always leave this as flat as possible. It's got a Teflon coating on it too, which helps cutting. Now let's take a look close up at the blade. Let's see if I can focus this in. Okay, there we go. You can see the blade is damaged. You see some chips. That's okay, because what we're going to do here is we're just going to sharpen this a little bit. And how we're going to do it, remember, this is the bevel here. There's actually 2 bevels. This is flat. This is the first bevel. And the second bevel, secondary bevel, is the one we're going to sharpen. Now that has ridges on it, and it's made that way so it grips onto whatever you're cutting. So what we're going to do now is, in order to cut, we're going to take an ice cream stick, and we're going to wrap it with some 240 sandpaper, okay? And we're just going to fold one side over here, one side over here, and wrap it so that we can hold it like this. Okay, now you have basically a file, but this is a very fine file that'll work here. And we're going to follow that bevel, okay, like this, and you're going to follow this down. Now keep an eye, use the reflecting light. Let's try and get it zoomed in again so you can see. We're going to try and keep the reflecting light, you see, so that when I go over a piece here like this, okay, I could see what I'm hitting. If I'm hitting too far on the sharp edge, I'll bend it this way a little bit, you know, and I'm just going to follow this down and just clean up that edge. I won't be able to get that chip out, but we're going to just clean up the edge and sharpen it. Okay, you see what we did? We just really cleaned up that edge and put another secondary, you know, made that nice and sharp over here. And then on the back side, remember I told you it's flat here. You're just going to take your sandpaper like this, and you're just going to put your thumb on the blade and just push it this way a little bit if there's any burr there, to take it off. And you can see we took off that little bit of burr that was there. It's shiny, but we're not going to touch this. We're just taking the burr off. Now this thing is razor sharp. Razor sharp. So let's test it out. I picked this out of the garden here. This was one of the weeds that was growing, and it's about 1/4 inch round. Okay, and we're just going to see how this cuts, and you can see it cuts fabulously. See that? It's very satisfying, right, to watch this cut. And again, because this is so green, it'll have a kind of a stringy feel to it. This one's a little bit thicker. Let's try this one out. Okay. Now you see how it's leaving a little bit of edge there, right in that middle. So that means right here where it's leaving that little hang, it's hanging off. We're just going to double test that there and make sure that this here has a 90-degree edge. Okay, now we addressed the bottom jaw. You see this bottom jaw here? This little edge here, we took this and we went back and forth to make this, just clean it up, get that flat. And then we did the top here because we want that to be a 90-degree corner here. So it should feel a little bit sharp. And you got to use the stick, because if you use your finger, it'll push it over the edge. You got to use the stick so that it stays true. Okay, we'll do that a couple times, back and forth, until you feel a little bit of a sharpness here. See, that feels a little bit sharp. And now when that passes this, like this, and sometimes you might have to bend this over a little bit, but it should pass by nice and clean when you, so let's try it out now. See? Sometimes the only way to deal with these is you got to keep trial and error. But now this is nice and sharp. Now we can clean up the handles with some tub of towels. And here we go, another poor man's flea market score. Cleans up nice with the tub of towels, comes out like new. One tip is, between seasons, wipe this down with a little bit of any kind of oil, mineral oil. Just put a coating on there, close them up, and put them away for the winter. But there we go. These are always nice. And again, sharpening. Now, pro tip, do not sharpen your cutters unless they're dull. I see some guys that go out there and they sharpen every time. They don't do that. When it's dull, you sharpen it. If it's cut and fine, leave it alone. There we go. Okay, so in closing, that was a fun episode. Let me know what you think about the old school Crescent adjustable wrenches, the big thick ones. Do you have one? Do you like it? They're big and clunky, but I love them. And I'm going to go up now and have a tomato sandwich, Big Vic tomato sandwich. Love those things. And we will see you again on Wednesday. Hope you are enjoying your holiday. Take care now. Bye-bye.